Do not look at the one who weeps. It started with an email from a sender named Simply Caretaker. No subject line. Just a plain text message with a location pin and a single sentence. You've been selected for the observation. At first, I thought it was spam. But that night, I dreamed of a long corridor made of white tiles and flickering lights. In the dream, I kept hearing someone sobbing behind a door labeled Room 13, but I never opened it. When I woke up, my phone had the same location open in Google Maps, even though I never clicked the link. Out of curiosity, or maybe stupidity, I went. The pin led me to a strange concrete facility buried in the woods behind a demolished shopping complex. It had no signage, just a steel door with a faded keypad. When I approached, the door opened automatically, releasing a stale gust of air that smelled like whetstone and iron. Inside, I was greeted by a young woman in a white uniform who didn't tell me her name. "We need observers," she said. "Once you're inside, you'll understand. You'll be here for 7 nights." 7? I asked, laughing. "What am I observing?" She didn't smile. Instead, she handed me a laminated card with 6 rules printed in red ink. "Read these before you go to sleep. And whatever happens, never enter room 13. Rules of the observation facility. 1. You must remain inside your assigned room between 11:11 p.m. and 6:06 a.m. 2. You may hear someone sobbing in the hallway. Do not open your door. 3. If your lights flicker in sets of 4, stand still and hold your breath until it stops. 4. You will see a woman crying on the hallway camera feed at exactly 3:03 a.m. Do not stare at her. 5. If your room becomes cold, check your closet. If it's open, shut it immediately and speak your full name aloud. 6. Do not, under any circumstances, attempt to enter room 13. I thought it was a joke. Some kind of experimental art installation. But the room they gave me looked nothing like a gallery, just sterile concrete walls, a cot, a small table, and an old CCTV monitor bolted into the ceiling corner. At exactly 11:11 p.m., the overhead lights dimmed automatically, and the door locked with a mechanical click. That was night 1. Nothing happened at first. I stayed up until 2 a.m., watching the camera feeds. Most screens showed quiet hallways and empty doors, except for one. Feed 7. It displayed the hallway just outside room 13. At exactly 3:03 a.m., she appeared. She didn't walk in. She just materialized under the flickering ceiling light, barefoot and hunched, long black hair hanging over her face. Her shoulders quaked like she was sobbing, but no sound came through the feed. She stood there for a full minute, facing the door. Then she turned. Even through the LoRa's screen, I could tell, she didn't have eyes. Just wet, black holes where they should have been. Her mouth hung open too far, like her jaw had been broken and never set right. Her lips moved, whispering something. And even though the audio was off, I swear I could hear her inside my head. "Don't look at me. Please don't look at me." I blinked and looked away. When I looked back, the screen was empty. I didn't sleep that night. The next day, the woman in white gave me a clipboard and said nothing. Just marked night 1, survived. I wanted to leave, asked if I could quit the experiment. She smiled then, just barely, and said, "The only way out is through all 7. Night 2, the lights flickered in sets of 4. I froze. Held my breath. It felt like something was inches from my back, breathing hot and slow into my neck. I couldn't move. Couldn't scream. My vision blurred. And just before the lights stopped flickering, I heard something click behind me, the closet door. It was open. I slammed it shut and shouted my full name, just like the rule said. The air went cold and sharp, and for a moment I saw something through the crack, a hand, skinless and trembling, gripping the door frame from inside. Night 3, I broke the rule. I stared too long at the woman on the screen. I thought maybe she was trying to say something new. She looked up at the camera, sobbing harder, hands reaching upward like she was trying to climb through. That night, I woke to find tears on my own cheeks. I hadn't cried. I don't cry. But there they were. And when I checked the mirror, my eyes looked wrong. Bruised. Like something had tried to borrow them. I'm writing this on night 6. Last night, I dreamed of room 13. But this time, the door opened. There was no room, just a staircase going down forever, deeper than physics should allow. The crying woman stood at the top of it, back turned, shoulders shaking. And slowly, she looked at me. Her mouth didn't move, but I heard her again. "One more night. Then you look for me." I jolted awake, heart hammering against my ribs like it was trying to flee my chest. My sheets were soaked in sweat, my hands clenching the pillow as if I'd been trying to suffocate something in my sleep. The room felt too quiet. Not peaceful, waiting. Like the walls were holding their breath. I scanned every corner, half expecting to see her, the weeping woman, crouched beside the bed. But the room was empty. The CCTV monitor flickered on by itself. No feeds. Just static. I walked to the door and knocked 3 times, the only way to summon the white uniformed caretaker. She arrived faster than usual, as if she'd been standing right outside. When she stepped in, she didn't speak. She just handed me a clean set of clothes and a small slip of paper that read, "Night 6, survived. Prepare." I tried asking questions. What is room 13? Who is she? What happens if I leave? But she only responded once, when I asked if she was even real. She smiled, a smile without warmth, and said, "We're all just echoes here. Some of us louder than others." That evening, the air in my room turned dense, like a weight had dropped from the ceiling and flattened everything beneath it. The overhead lights stayed dim all day, and when I tried to nap, the room filled with soft sobbing. Not from outside. Not from the cameras. From beneath my bed. I didn't look. I didn't move. At 11:11 p.m., the door sealed itself with a hiss, and the lights flickered, once, then twice, then 4 times. I stood still. Held my breath. I've gotten good at that. I counted the seconds. 15. 30. Then the cold came. Not air conditioning cold. But old cold, like the kind that clings to morgue drawers and long-forgotten crypts. My closet door creaked softly. This time, I didn't wait. I turned and slammed it shut before it could open fully, shouting my name loud enough to wake the dead. Except, the sobbing didn't stop. It grew louder. It wasn't just her anymore. There were others. Many others. Low weeping. High-pitched gasps. Rasping breath. Moaning. All pressed up against the walls of my room, circling me like wolves outside a tent. Then, at 3:03 a.m., the monitor flashed on. The woman was back on feed 7. Standing in the same spot, outside room 13. But this time she wasn't facing the door. She was staring directly into the camera. Into me. Her head twitched with every sob, her fingers clawing at her own stomach like she was trying to dig something out of herself. Blood leaked from her empty eyes. Suddenly, the monitor changed. Instead of the hallway feed, it now showed the inside of room 13. It was pitch black, except for the shape of something moving in the darkness. Crawling on the walls. Long limbs. Too many joints. The screen distorted and flickered, but I could make out faces. Faces growing out of the walls like tumors. All of them weeping. Some screamed without sound, some whispered words I couldn't hear but felt, in my stomach, in my bones. Then came the countdown. 6 hours remaining. I blacked out. I woke at 10:47 a.m., still sitting upright, eyes open. I hadn't moved. When the caretaker entered, she brought no clipboard. Only a key. "Room 13 will accept you now," she said. "You've observed enough. She is ready." I tried to refuse. Begged her to let me leave. But the rules were never optional. They weren't for participation, they were for survival. I realized then that I hadn't been chosen randomly. I was being groomed. She handed me the key and said, "When the lights go out tonight, go to her. She remembers your face." Now it's 11:10 p.m. The key is cold in my palm. The hallway outside is dark. The sobbing is louder than ever, not just one woman, but dozens. Hundreds. Like the whole building is crying. The door just clicked open. No alarms. No warning. No feed. Just silence. It's time. The hallway outside my room was bathed in a colorless gloom, not darkness exactly, but the absence of anything warm or living. The overhead lights flickered as though hesitating to reveal too much. My bare feet touched cold tile that somehow felt wet, though it left no dampness on my skin. I held the key in my hand, its notched edge biting into my palm with each step as if warning me, reminding me that I could still turn back. But where would I go? The rules had me in their jaws now. The weeping woman had whispered into my dreams, slithered into my vision, and painted her intentions across my sleep like mold on a rotting wall. You don't walk away from something that already lives inside you. The hallway stretched on longer than it had any right to. I passed room 9. Room 10. Room 11. Each door darker than the last, as if the shadows were peeling off the walls and bleeding into the wood. Room 12's number had been carved over, gouged again and again like someone had tried to erase it but failed. And then, finally, room 13. There was no number on the door, but I knew. I felt it. The air stopped moving here. The silence was unnatural. Not absence of noise, absence of possibility. The door stood completely still, flush with the wall, like it had grown there instead of being built. My hand shook as I raised the key. The lock accepted it without resistance. When the door opened, it made no sound. Not a creak. Not a groan. The light from the hallway didn't follow me inside. It was devoured the instant it crossed the threshold. The inside of room 13 was not a room. It was a void. Not black, not empty, but worse. The kind of darkness that hears you thinking, that watches with interest. My foot touched solid ground, but the space around me twisted. My breath came out in fog, even though the air wasn't cold. A dull, red glow illuminated the space like it was bleeding from a wound in reality. That's when I saw the walls, covered in faces. Not painted. Not carved. Pressed from the inside. Their features strained beneath the surface like something trying to escape gelatin. Eyes bulged. Mouths opened in silent screams. And they were all crying. In the center of the space was a single figure, her back to me, kneeling in a puddle of something viscous and black. She wept silently, her shoulders rising and falling in rhythmic agony. Her hair hung long and slick, soaked with the fluid around her. As I took a step closer, I realized her sobs weren't coming from her mouth. They were coming from the mouths of the walls. Dozens of them. Hundreds. All whispering in unison. "Don't look at her. Don't look at her. Don't look at her." But I couldn't help it. I had to. I took another step. She stood. Not gracefully. Not humanly. Her limbs unfolded like wet sticks, too long, too wrong. When she turned, I saw her face clearly for the first time, and wished I hadn't. Her eyes were gaping sockets filled with writhing shadows. Her mouth hung open, frozen mid-scream, but no sound came out. Her skin was stretched too tight over something that wasn't quite bone. Her body seemed to pulse, and then I saw it, dozens of hands emerging from her torso and arms, gripping her, clawing at her, as if they were the arms of others trying to pull themselves free from inside her. She took a step toward me. I wanted to run. But the floor swallowed my feet like warm mud. Her sobbing turned into a wet gurgle, and then, she spoke. "You've seen too much." Her voice came from inside my chest. Not my ears. It vibrated my organs like a tuning fork from hell. I felt blood trickle from my nose. My eyes burned. They always look. The walls trembled. The faces inside them wept harder. I reached into my pocket, desperate for something, anything, and found the rule card. Crumpled. Useless. I fell to my knees. And she knelt with me. She leaned forward until her forehead touched mine, and I realized, the crying wasn't pain. It was welcoming. I wasn't a visitor. I was an addition. A new voice in the chorus. One more soul for the walls. My vision dimmed. Not from unconsciousness, from merging. I felt something press against the back of my throat, not physical, not sharp. A grief. A sorrow so heavy it tore through my body like floodwater. Memories that weren't mine flashed behind my eyes. Screams. Needles. Locked doors. One by one, I saw the faces of all the others who had observed. They were all still here. And they were all still weeping. I am still in room 13. I am part of the walls now. Pressed thin and screaming without sound. The sobbing never stops. It comes from all directions, especially within. She walks the room at night, adding more to us. She kneels by the door at 3:03 a.m., waiting for the next observer. And when they look at her, they always do.